Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline at Pixie Dust PhD. I am filming this on Monday, June 12th. This is the month 40 creator update. We'll highlight a few news pieces. I do want to talk about Galactic Starcruiser a bit, as well as the return of the dining plan to Walt Disney World. Then we've got a few quick Disney Vacation Club updates, and we will do stats, analytics, and revenue for this month, as well as lifetime of the channel. Stay tuned. Happy Pride. I hope you're all celebrating, but also staying safe. And with that, let's jump into it. At this point, this is old news, but I did just want to touch on the Galactic Starcruiser shutting down for a little bit. This is that 2-day immersive voyage where you really get to live out your Star Wars dreams and be part of the story. That is ending in September of this year. When it was announced, especially once the price point was announced, I think everyone was like, well, this is not going to be successful long term. To me, long term would have been more than 5 years probably. So I don't think anyone's surprised to see it close, but I do think a lot of people, myself included, are surprised that it's closing this soon. I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I definitely wasn't the target market, but it's definitely still a bummer to see something like this quote unquote fail. And I don't really know if it's a failure. I think, the financials are what they are. It seems like that didn't go so well for them. But in terms of a new way of doing immersive storytelling, and from what I know, like everyone who did it had the best time of their lives. So from that sense, I don't think it failed at all and was a really brave new way to do theme parks. Frank from the podcast Theme Park Thursday with Dillis Diz talked about this quite eloquently, so I'm going to leave a link to his eulogy of the Starcruiser in the description below, and if you really care about this topic, I encourage you to check it out. But I do want to say I think it is sad to see it go strictly because it's a concept that's really cool and could have been adopted in a bunch of different ways had it been more quote-unquote successful. I personally am really interested to see what they're going to do with that space in the future. I've seen a lot of people pitch, well, maybe it'll just be a normal hotel or they can make it a DVC property. And maybe, but also there's no amenities and there's hardly any rooms. I think there's only like 100 cabins. I think it would take some serious renovations to make it into a normal hotel or a Disney Vacation Club property that people are willing to buy into. The other thing worth noting is the whole point is that you're supposed to feel like you're in space, so I'm pretty sure there are essentially no windows. I can imagine Disney might have a hard time selling a hotel room or a timeshare property with windowless accommodations. I've not heard anything concrete coming out of the Disney Corporation about what they are planning to do with that site in the future. And I think the possibilities are extremely broad. You can imagine a situation that's similar in spirit to what the Starcruiser currently is, where it's kind of an immersive, almost live-action role-playing situation where you, perhaps just for a day instead of overnight, you go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in the morning at Hollywood Studios, and then you do your day trip out to space. You get on the transport shuttle, go to the Starcruiser, do an abridged version of the story, maybe you still get to do lightsaber training or something like that, and then come back to Hollywood Studios at night. I imagine that would be very expensive, but considering how much they sell tours for, I imagine there might still be a market for it. I obviously don't know what it would take for them to be profitable, but I can imagine them charging $500 for a day-long expedition like that, and some people definitely doing that more easily than the $5,000 price for the 2-night immersive experience. I know I've seen some people talk about it just becoming a restaurant. I never went into the space, so I have a hard time visualizing, like, does the layout make sense for that? Or again, would you need significant renovations? Or is it just going to become like a launch bay, meet and greet, Instagram room? Who knows? I'm looking forward to the future. Let me know what you think the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser will be used for in the future, whether that's realistic or just something you want to happen really badly that maybe won't. The other big Walt Disney World news piece that I wanted to touch on this month is we have more details about the dining plan's return. So it's now confirmed that we are only getting those 2 dining plans, the quick service dining plan and what's called the Disney dining plan. There used to be 4, and the more expensive 2 are now not an option, at least for 2024. In both of these, for the length of your stay, you'll get a resort refillable mug and 1 snack credit per day. It is 1. This did used to be 2 snack credits per day, so that's a little bit of a trim back there. Then for the quick service dining plan, you'll get 2 quick service meal credits per day in addition to your snack credit and refillable mug. A quick service snack credit is an entree and a beverage. If you are 21 and over and drink alcohol, you can have an alcoholic beverage. If you don't want an alcoholic beverage, all the standard beverages are going to be included, coffee, tea, soda, and sometimes some of the premium non-alcoholic beverages will be included. Those are things like smoothies or milkshakes. I think it will vary location to location. You'll just have to look at the menu or ask a cast member. This is going to cost about $57 per adult and a little under $24 per child. And remember, at Disney World, child is ages 3 through 9, so once your kid is age 10 or over, they count as an adult. For the Disney dining plan, in addition to that 1 snack credit per day and your resort refillable mug, you will get 1 quick service meal and 1 table service meal per day. Just like with the quick service plan, your quick service meal credit on the Disney dining plan will be worth 1 entree and 1 beverage. Then for table service, you are going to get 1 entree and a dessert if you go for lunch or dinner. If you go for breakfast, you don't get the dessert, so don't go for breakfast. You also do get a beverage with your table service credit, and again, it can be alcoholic if you're 21 and over, and specialty non-alcoholic beverages may also count. If instead of an a la carte style restaurant, you're going to go to a restaurant that has a buffet style or family style meal, then your table service credit will get you that full experience. And just like before, do note that some table service meals will cost 2 table service credits. Mainly this is going to be character dining as well as fine or signature dining, anything with a dining show, and then also be our guest. The Disney dining plan will cost just under $95 per adult and just under $30 per child, and I do believe these prices are before tax. I could be wrong about that though. So those are the facts, and with that being said, I think that these are incredibly overpriced. The kids' prices actually probably aren't too bad, but the adult prices are rough. $57 for 2 quick service meals per day is pretty unthinkable. When I'm thinking about grabbing a quick service meal, I'm usually thinking about spending $12 to $17 max. There are a handful of more expensive quick service options, especially out in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but overall, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to spend $57 worth of food on 2 quick service meals. This is especially true if you aren't going to get alcohol. If you are going to use that beverage credit for alcohol, I can see it probably working out. But if you're not a drinker, I just don't think this math is going to work. And honestly, it might be even worse for the Disney dining plan, which then you're talking about basically $95 per adult. That's 1 quick service meal, which let's generously say you would spend $20 on that food, which is going to be hard to do. And then 1 table service meal, again, with 1 entree and 1 dessert. Are you going to be able to spend over $70? Similarly, if you are going to get an alcoholic beverage with each of these meals, I think it could work out better. But it would take a lot of planning to make sure you actually got your money's worth. This is all just a hunch for me right now, just based on my spending experience at Disney World. And you guys know that, like, we'll spend a lot of money at Disney World on food, but $95 a day for a quick service meal and a table service meal just seems really, really hard to achieve. I do want to dig into some concrete examples. I'll probably try to make a video specifically on this topic in the future, but let me know what you think about the return of the dining plan. In my opinion, you are definitely now being sold the convenience of having prepaid for your meals and not at all any notion of like, you can save money on this. Oh, and I know I ignored the snack credits in my math just then, but I mean, generously, I think a good value snack credit's like $7 or $8 and you only get 1 of those a day, so it's not going to make a huge difference, I don't think. Even in the old version of the dining plan, I was only really able to make the math work based on table service credits, so in the future, I do hope they add back a higher tier option where you get more table service credits. But yeah, let me know what you think. This is less actual news, and I just wanted to raise awareness about some deals coming your way for Disney World. Mouse Savers right now is having some really good deals on 2 of the Hilton Grand Vacation Club properties down in Orlando. Now, these are not right at the parks. You will be spending some time commuting if you're going down to Disney from these locations. They are kind of centrally located between Disney and Universal, I would say, so if you are doing a general Orlando trip, it might be good for you. But I would definitely count on bringing your own car or renting a car. But for example, I was just casually looking at dates and there was like an over 800 square foot room with, I think, a king bed and a queen sofa pullout and a full kitchen, and it was about $200 a night. I'll put links to those in the descriptions below in case you're curious. And if you are going to Disney World this summer, there is a ticket offer you might be interested in. It's a 4-day, 4-park Magic Your Way ticket. This is valid from June 1st through September 29th. There are blockout days around 4th of July and Labor Day. This is not a park hopper ticket. It is 1 park per day, and it is 1 entry into each of the 4 parks. So you can't go to Magic Kingdom twice or 3 times. You know, it's 1 Magic Kingdom, 1 Epcot, 1 Animal Kingdom, 1 Hollywood Studios. The order you go in is up to you, and the ticket is good for 7 days from your first entrance. Plus, you don't have to make theme park reservations. It's $99 per day, I assume, plus tax, so a pretty good deal overall if that kind of ticket would work with your schedule. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. Next, let's do some minor Disney Vacation Club updates. The beach club renovations have been underway, and I believe they're done with the 4th and 5th floors entirely. The rest of the renovations are set to resume in August with a targeted completion date of October. They're doing updates to the wall and floor coverings and furnishings. Most notably, they're adding that pull-down single sleeper Murphy bed in the living rooms. And from early October through early December, the Dunes Cove pool, or that quiet pool, will be closed at Beach Club Villas. You will have access to the other pools though, it'll just be a little bit further away. Also for the cabins at Copper Creek, refurbishments are set to begin in late April of 2024. The targeted completion date is sometime in late summer 2024. We haven't heard anything about the non-cabin villas at Copper Creek, though those are also on the slate schedule-wise to be refurbished sometime in 2024. For what it's worth, Bay Lake Tower is also due for a refurbishment in 2024, but I haven't heard any updates about that. With so much of the Disney Vacation Club focus being on villas at Disneyland Hotel, not a lot of other news going on, but it's nice to know when refurbs are happening, especially if it may affect your trip. Next, I did want to briefly touch on the cast member strikes at Disneyland Paris. I'm 100% in support of the cast members. They deserve a fair living wage and good work conditions, and if they need to demonstrate to make that happen, so be it. I've seen a lot of ignorant comments from American theme park fans talking about how if they did this in Florida, the cast members would simply be kicked out, maybe even arrested. Well, guess what? France is not Florida. More importantly, the cast members at any of the parks are the ones who make the magic, so I think it's really important that the community support them. But regardless, if you have a weird feeling about this, I would just highly suggest you do a quick Wikipedia read about the history of unionization in France. It's very different from America. Culturally, it makes a lot of sense in that context, and again, I just fully support their efforts. And last, before we move into stats and analytics, I wanted to give everyone a heads up that I am planning on doing a fundraiser in July. July is my birthday month, and I would love if the gift from the community to me would be to help me out give back to the community. It will not be a theme park focused charity. It will be a charity that's very important to me though, and one that I think you all will be able to empathize with. So just a heads up that that is coming. Stay tuned to the channel, stay tuned to socials. I'll be pretty annoying about it probably, but a big part of building the community for me has always been I want to find a way to give back. My revenue from YouTube isn't really big enough to make that happen meaningfully, but I know a lot of you are fantastic people. So yeah, I'm going to try out a fundraiser. We'll see how it goes and be on the lookout. Getting into stats and analytics then, for month 40 alone, I pulled these from May 11th through June 10th. Posted a lot of videos this month and it was very heavily focused on villas at Disneyland Hotel. Not technically in this monthly period, on May 10th, so one day before the monthly period began, I posted that one-day Memory Maker video. But most of the stats from that are going to count toward this monthly period, so it was basically posted this month. Then we had the month 39 creator update and that video where I gave a very concrete example of borrowing points for DVC. After that, it was almost all Villas at Disneyland Hotel content, though we did sneak in one Disney Vacation Club availability video where we looked at Christmas time. But yeah, a big content month for me, 8 to 9 full videos posted, most of them Disney Vacation Club topics. Top performers this month by views included 6 shorts and 4 proper videos. Happily for me, all of the 4 proper videos that made it into the top 10 were actually posted this month, which means I posted something and it actually gained traction. A lot of what I post on the channel, it gets 80 to 200 views maybe, and then it will accumulate views over time over the course of months to years. But yeah, these seem to strike a chord probably because they were fairly timely, which is nice. The only video in the top 10 that I did not post this month actually was a short, which I think that might be the first time that's happened. Usually I post shorts, they get all their views in a day or two, and then they never see another view again. But in this case, I posted the short in the number 10 spot in April. This was covering the Disneyland Pride Night event, and so I'm guessing it got a spike because the Pride Night event is now actually coming. There's more details been released, and so probably people were looking for that. Mine showed up in the feed, even though it was older and didn't have the new information. Overall, we got over 14,000 views, which now is 5 months in a row of over 10,000 views. If you look basically at the entirety of year 3 of me posting content, around 6,000 views or so was kind of my sweet spot, like anything over 5,000 or so, and I was happy. And now, for some reason, we've skyrocketed for 5 months to over 10,000 views, which 5 months in a row doesn't seem like a huge coincidence, but I'm probably jinxing it for next month. But anyway, cool for now. And these views were racked up this month from over 9,300 unique viewers. Again, you can see the past 5 months have just been much better than most of the rest of the channel. 654 of you were returning viewers. Thank you so much. This is a new record and I really appreciate it. I think it also speaks to the fact that I basically posted about Disney Vacation Club this month only, which is kind of the core of my channel. I know not all of you love the theme park vlogs. That's totally fine. I get it. It's not a big deal. But it's nice to see that when I do return to Disney Vacation Club informational content, you all are here and supporting me. I so appreciate all of the likes you leave on the videos, subscribing to the channel, ringing the bell icon, turning on notifications for when I post, and all of the sharing you do. And this month was an absurd spike in watch hours. We had over 850 watch hours for just a single month. Honestly, if I got that much in 2 months, many times that would be great. So you can see the past 5 months or so, even though I've had a lot of views, it hasn't resulted in a ton of watch hours necessarily because a lot of those views, I believe, are coming from the shorts, not necessarily the videos. But this tells me people were more engaged with the longer format videos on the channel, which is great. And I had over 150,000 impressions for just 1 month. This is by far a record. It's like 1.5 times higher than my previous high. Unbelievable. I'm so happy. Impressions from YouTube this month was also good at 48.9%. So for the past while, I've been in the 40 to low 50% range, and anytime I'm over 45% or so, that feels pretty good. And while this is not a record, it was a really strong month overall. We did get 60 new subscribers. Moving away from YouTube for a second, over on Twitter, I am following 1,416 accounts and 1,091 are following me. On Instagram, I am following 744 accounts and 490 are following me. Over 3 years in, and maybe I'll hit 500 followers on Instagram eventually. For lifetime analytics, the channel now has over 215,000 views and over 14,500 watch hours total. There are now 2.2 million impressions for the channel, with 36.3% of those impressions coming from YouTube. And overall, we're at 1,369 subscribers. So doing some reflection starting with month to month 39 was a really good month. I definitely wasn't complaining, but look at month 40. Views was up, watch hours was way up, the highest it's ever been. The percent view duration was up, the number of impressions was super up, again, the highest it's ever been. The impressions from YouTube was up. The not subscribed amount, even though I didn't present this data, was way improved. I'm usually in the low to mid 70%. In this case, lower is better. And this month was almost 62%. Month to month, it was like a 10% gain. And also, again, we got 60 new subscribers, which is basically 2 a day, which is pretty fantastic. Every single monthly stat that I track and look at was either somewhat improved or hugely improved this month compared to last month. And I'm just so thankful. I worked really hard to churn out a lot of videos that I thought were timely and helpful, and it's always really nice when it feels like the community sees that effort and rewards me for it. And lifetime was also pretty great. We broke 215,000 views. That's not something I was expecting to do this month. And really impressively, we not only broke 14,000 watch hours, but 14,500 watch hours. I never would have guessed. Obviously, this is coming from the fact that we had over 850 watch hours in 1 month, which again, if that was a 2-month total, I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, that was a big jump in milestones for me. And we surpassed 1,350 overall subscribers this month, so it's possible we hit 14,000 next month. I'm not going to make any bets, but things are trending the right direction. For revenue this month, I made about $60. This is a little over $18 for every 1,000 ad views, or about $4.50 for every 1,000 views overall. And I do think my effort to sustain posting several shorts a week is helping the channel out. I think it's helping to grow my audience, get some subscribers, definitely helps with the view count, but revenue-wise, I do just want to continue to emphasize that I make money from the actual videos, not from the shorts feed. For lifetime revenue, we're now just shy of $350, which is nothing to scoff at. That being said, I am now in year 4 of making content, right? This is month 40 creator update. So if you consider the entire lifetime of the channel, it's less than $10 a month. Obviously, I haven't been monetized for the entire lifetime of the channel, but just for any other creators out there who are thinking about making a channel or have their own small channel already, like it's a long, slow haul. At least for me, it's not like as soon as I got monetized, I'm making like huge, meaningful amounts of money. Plus, don't forget that this is the raw money that they give you, and then you have to pay taxes on it still. For my longer term revenue goals, not much to report. I will say that the Sony ZV-1 Mark II camera was released, so me putting off making a decision maybe worked out in my favor. I think I will end up buying that camera. It is like $900 though, and we've had a couple high spend months with our DVC purchase. Both my partner and I had some car issues. June is my partner's birthday month, so I've spent a lot on presents and stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I'll buy the camera before the next monthly update, but I am pretty solidly intending on buying that camera now. In terms of upcoming content, we definitely still have some stuff left from our January 2023 trip. There's the Bull and Bear review, which depending on when this video gets posted, you may have already seen that one, as well as the Waldorf Astoria room tour. Plus, there's some more chatty reflections videos where my partner and I are talking about the new experiences we had during that trip, highlights and lowlights. I also still have 2 videos about Disneyland Paris's PhotoPass system queued up and ready to go. And recently I filmed with my friend Jen, who's a podcaster on Theme Park Thursday with Dill is Diz, talking about kids at Walt Disney World. I've just been getting more questions about this recently, and I don't feel super qualified to answer them, so I had Jen come on and talk about a few topics, so there will be that series coming. Disability Access Service Round 2 is coming as promised. Like I said last month, I think it might be August, but it's coming. And then for an opinion-based video, my partner and I recently sat down and filmed about what improvements we would make to Magic Kingdom, so I'm excited to release that one sometime. And like I mentioned earlier, I do want to try to sit down and do some dining plan math and have a video on that. And again, if you buy it for the convenience, absolutely no shame. I just think in its current iteration, buying it for monetary value seems next to impossible, and I want to see if I'm right. Overall, really a phenomenal month. I never would have guessed that this would have happened. Again, thank you so much for interacting with the channel, sharing with friends. Anything you do that lets the YouTube algorithm know that you like my content helps me out so much. I am sure I will not be able to keep this pace up, so I bet next month compared to this month is going to be disappointing, but I will take a freakishly good month anytime, no complaints for sure. I hope your summer's off to a really nice start, and like I said earlier, happy Pride. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Does PhD.